this shiny new thing right here is the Anbernic RG-SP, a handheld where the past meets the future. I was going to cut that line out, but I thought it sounded cool. Anyway, it's an absolute dream to use. Now, if you're thinking, hang on a minute, haven't they already made one of these? You're right, twice actually. First, there was the RG35XX SP with its 4x3 screen. Then came the RG34XX with built-in sticks. Both were chasing that Game Boy Advance SP magic, but neither quite felt complete. But this time, they got it bang on. Let me show you why. First of all, big shout out to Anbernic for sending one over for this video. If you want one for yourself, you can grab one using the link in the description. Now, bit controversial, but of all the holes in the world, the lanyard hole is probably one of my favourites, because it lets you do this. Full 2000s mode complete. Wait, hold on. There we go. So let's talk about the Hinge, because when the 35XX SP came out, there were some people that were having some issues, let's say, with theirs that put me off. So that's why before making this video, I've been stress testing this Hinge, just, opening and closing it for about an hour or more every day since getting it, just to see how it holds up. And I'm sorry guys, I tried my best, but this thing will not break. Now, I only had one intention with the RGSP, and that is to play only GBA games on it and nothing else. I mean, it is trying to be a GBA-SP after all, and that's exactly what I wanted to judge it as. I should probably mention at this point, this sucker is $65. Yeah, you heard that right. At that price, it's definitely worth picking up as a dedicated GBA machine. And I'm sure the price would drop to a more favourable price over time. So maybe wait it out if you're not desperate for it. Now, for the longest time, I've been chasing a Game Boy Advance only emulation device. Currently, I've landed on this, but that's for another video. And whenever I'm testing a new Game Boy Advance handheld, I always end up coming back to one game first, Mr. Driller Ace. It's a Japan-only sequel to Mr. Driller 2, and I absolutely love it. I don't know what it is, but if a handheld can make me want to keep playing Mr. Driller Ace and lose complete track of time, it's usually a good sign. So I think we can agree, aesthetically, the RG-SP does a lot of things right. 3:2 ratio, 3.4 inch screen, that gives you 3 times integer scale GBA, no sticks, and even more compact form factor. Great build quality with a really nice finish. D-pad and buttons all feel great. Hinge and closing mechanism feel solid. And very satisfying to use. I've been playing some of my good old favourites on here since getting this in, and it's been an absolute joy to use. And just look at the damn thing, it's tiny. It just slots into literally any pocket you can think of. And because it's so easy to carry around everywhere, you get more game time in. I think a lot of people who are going to buy this for Game Boy Advance are going to have a really big smile on their face the moment they get it in their hands. So the brilliant thing about this is that the moment I start to game on it, I never give any thought about the actual handheld, because there's no weird creaks or wonky buttons, no annoying distractions. And you know what though, let me ask you guys a question. When was the last time you bought a handheld that did only one thing? Because somewhere along the way, we've convinced ourselves that every handheld needs to emulate everything under the sun. PS2, GameCube, Wii, Switch. And don't get me wrong, I love those type of handhelds too, but there's something really refreshing about picking this up and already knowing exactly what I'm going to play. Game Boy Advance, that's it. And weirdly, I think that's why I've been using it so much. I'm not spending 20 minutes scrolling through thousands of games wondering what to play. I just pick a game and I'm playing within seconds. The best compliment I can give the RGSP is this. About 5 minutes into a gaming session, I completely forget I'm reviewing a handheld. I'm not thinking about chipsets or screen resolutions or firmware updates. I'm just playing games. Speaking of actually playing games, we need to talk about this screen, because this is probably the biggest reason I keep coming back to the RGSP. Sprites are nice and sharp, text is crystal clear, colours really pop as well. I actually found myself stopping a few times just to admire how clean everything looked. One small thing I also appreciate with the display is the bezels. They're noticeably thinner than the previous iterations, and I think that makes a bigger difference than you might expect. Your eyes are drawn straight into the game rather than being surrounded by a big border of plastic. It just feels a bit more immersive. If you really must play other systems on here, then you'll be glad to know that it handles most of the retro systems pretty well. Like these ones here. You can easily play them in a pinch, and again, they are better handhelds for that. But this is all about the GBA back catalogue for me. The controls deserve a mention as well, because for a handheld that's all about Game Boy Advance, they have to be right. Thankfully, I really like them. The D-pad is really nice and responsive, diagonals register well, and the face buttons have just the right amount of travel without feeling mushy. Even the shoulder buttons, which can make or break a handheld like this, feel satisfying to use and are easy to reach. So yeah, controls are on point. Comfort was also something I was curious about before I got it, because this thing is tiny, and sometimes tiny things come with compromises. But I've been really impressed so far. The rounded edges, button placement and compact size just make it really comfortable to use. Which is important because once you start Game Boy Advance games on here, it's very easy to lose track of time. Now, normally around this point in the review, I'd have a few things to mention that I don't quite love. Maybe a few little annoyances, things I think could be improved, or just those small details that stop a handheld from being perfect. But honestly, I've been trying to think of something for the RGSP, and I've got nothing, guys. I generally don't have a single thing that has bothered me during my time using it, which is a bit strange because I was expecting to find something. Okay, if I really need to nitpick, would I have liked a full metal version of this? Yes, but then it would be heavier. Would I have liked dual stereo speakers? Yes, absolutely, but it's not essential for this handheld. Maybe there will be something that will pop up after a few more weeks of use, but I'll get back to you on that. But right now, I have to say, Anbernic have created something that feels incredibly focused. It knows exactly what it wants to be, and it does that one thing really, really well. So at this juncture, I think it's probably obvious that I love this little thing. What works for me though might not work for you, I get that. But if, like me, you've been looking for a dedicated Game Boy Advance machine, something you can throw in your pocket, pick up whenever you have a spare few minutes, and just start playing, then I think Anbernic have absolutely nailed it here. I've been looking for the perfect dedicated Game Boy Advance handheld for a little while now. Something that captures everything I loved about the original GBA-SP, but improves on it in all the ways that matter. And for me at least, this is about as close as it gets.